Good morning, Internet. Welcome back. It's Jon Pratt with another Song of the Month. Only this month, no song. Well, there'll be some songs later on, but you'll see what I'm talking about. This month, I'm aping one of my favorite internet phenomenon, Guitar of the Day, Mark Agnesi at Norm's Rare Guitars. He's just did his last Guitar of the Day yesterday. It was Straturday, and I've been watching that now probably for the last year since my dad turned me on to it. And it's just been great. I've really appreciated his warmth and his guitar playing. So this is my little fanboy shout out to Mark Agnesi and a little tribute today. So this month, instead of playing you one of my songs or playing a cover song and focusing on that, today I'm going to focus just on the guitar. And so parroting the way Mark structures his Guitar of the Day, I'm going to follow that format here. And so first I want to do a few shout outs. There's been a few people communicating over the years on my monthly song. I really appreciate it. Like the random comments and people supporting what I'm doing here. I was just out in the Bay Area visiting my biggest fan. Hey Greg, it was good to spend a day out playing guitars in the Bay Area. It was really especially nice. First stop, Lafayette, California. We played some mighty fine guitars. All right, moving on from the shout outs, I think it's time that we go ahead and get into the back room, or the control room in this case, of Shabro Recording, and take a look at our 1962 or 1963 Vega E30D. So, as longtime viewers of my channel here will know, just about every month is Weird Ass Wednesday as far as the type of guitars that I play. I favor obscure guitars, but I like them to be of a certain sort of quality, a certain je ne sais quoi, so to speak. And so what I have focused on is collecting a few examples of Vega Guitar Company's fine output. So this is a Vega E30D I picked up from Retro Fret Guitars in New York. I have a sneaking suspicion that belonged to a guy who runs a site called Old Frets. If you're interested in this sort of stuff at all, I urge you to go check out the Old Frets guitar site. He's got a fantastically curated collection of everything. He's got lap steels, he's got mandolins, tenor guitars, but what he really has is a large collection of Vega stuff, and that's where I get a lot of the information about my Vega. So let's go ahead, we'll get in here and take a look at this thing. Notice it's in its original Lifton case, nice hard shell Lifton case with, ooh, that lovely green and perfectly intact interior. And here we have the guitar. This guitar is Vega's response. By the 1960s, the Vega Guitar Company was just not what it was. And I shouldn't keep saying Vega Guitar Company. Vega was a musical instruments manufacturer. They made everything. They did band instruments starting in 1904. They bought the Standard Band Instruments Company in Boston. They were a Boston-based company. They got started in 1881. They were really one of the movers and shakers in instrument manufacture in the United States. That's another reason I kind of like them. And it's Boston, man. Who can not, love something from Boston? All right, lots of people. Let's talk about the guitar a bit. By 1960, Vega was sort of giving up a little bit on competing with Gibson and Epiphone, but clearly they've had some aspirations. You can see similarities between this guitar and an ES-175 by Gibson, except we've got a Venetian cutaway instead of a Florentine cutaway. So that's a little bit of a distinction there. It shares a lot of attributes with Guild X-175s, which was Guild's answer to the ES-175. All of these guitars are fully hollow body, deep body guitars, aimed more at the jazz market than the rock and rollers. But that doesn't mean it doesn't get played a lot by blues musicians, these types of guitars, or that they don't show up in rock and roll in ways you're not always aware of because they're played by studio musicians and stuff. and aren't really what the artists are taking out on the road. So other oddities about this Vega, I think this one is actually a 25-inch scale. It's got a 1 11/16 nut. It has really, really interesting reverse F-holes. Kind of a sexy little addition that they did. And I was saying earlier that it's a bit of a mutt of a guitar. The neck itself was made by Vega. The body is made by Harmony in Chicago. And this bridge is a Hagstrom adjustable bridge that was made in Sweden. And then I, wanting to get a sort of a, I'm aiming less for an ES 175 kind of thing and more a Scotty Moore ES, what is that, a 295 that Scotty Moore played. That's the sort of thing I'm aiming for, so I had a Bigsby put on this. All right, so that's how I pimped my Vega. So I added that Bigsby. And I was sort of hesitant to do it because this is about as mint as it gets in a vintage guitar. Think about it. This is from 1962, 1964. There's hardly even any checking of the finish. I don't know. Maybe it's not a lacquer finish. Might be polyurethane. In which case that wouldn't check so much. But you get it's thinned nicely. You get beautiful spruce grain on the top of this thing. I assume it's a laminate top. There's been different conflicting things I've read on the internet. Some people talk about the top of this thing being carved, which would make it a little more like an L4. Yeah, hard to say. I know for sure that we've got back and side laminate maple, spruce top, and I'm going to say rosewood fingerboard, and dot inlays, bound neck, triple bound around, single bind on the back. Get a load of that. Beautiful three-tone burst. They did a nice job, and it's their own freaking color, man. It just, there's something about the Vega guitars, they always are a little more red than the competition, which is, some people might think of as gaudy. I think of as gaudy, but it's just so delightfully odd ducky. This thing just has so much that's funky about it, and I love the idea of playing a guitar that I just don't see that much of. There's hardly any of these around. About the pickups, we've got two of these France pickups. That's another odd duck thing. These are made in Astoria, Queens, New York. Back in the day, they were also showing up on Guild guitars, but the internet seems to tell me that these that were made for Vega are a little bit different. Hard to say. I know I have seen various versions of even these pickups on Vega guitars. There's an E30D, which is a dressed up version of this guitar, had a really super fancy tailpiece, a little bit of sparkle pick guard. So this is the somewhat more plain spoken guitar of the Vega lineup in the mature adult jazz box. So I think that now it's time to go to the couch, plug this thing in, and give it a listen. Okay, we're here on the couch. We've got the 1962 or 1963 Vega E30D. I've got all the volume and the tone knobs fully freaking out. We're plugged into my Blues Cube Hot Rod EL84, modified EL84. I've got the thing set up for a clean sound, set on the 5-watt setting. It's got all EQs at noon, just a little bit of reverb, and so here we are. We're on the neck pickup, one of these Franz P90 looking suckers here. Let's hear what it sounds like. front pickup. Here we are, both pickups. I've noticed that in listening to the general buzz that we get out of single coil pickups, that moving to the middle position doesn't seem to attenuate the buzz. So I'm going to say that it's not switch polarity as far as the way these pickups are wired. Just a little note there. So let's hear what the two pickups playing together sound like. And finally, the bridge pickup wide freaking open. The Vega E30D from 1962-1963. Nice 3-color burst, 25-inch scale, fancy freaking lucite pick guard, funky as reversed F-holes, cool freaking guitar. Glad to share it with you. Next month, back to a song. All right, thank you everybody. Bye-bye.